Hello, beautiful people. Honest Am here, the creator and writer of the Honestly Sis newsletter, a bi-weekly newsletter geared towards millennials who are truly trying to get their shit together. And I'm here for another daily motivational video where I use the tarot to become the alchemist of our life and to teach us how to remember how to become spiritual beings. A little bit about me: I do not just use the tarot. I use God and cusses in the same sentence. I may mispronounce some things, but if it does not stop Charlamagne the God, it will not stop me. So, y'all, I want to apologize for being MIA last week. I saw 3 of y'all gave me a thumbs down, like, fuck that, angel number 30. But it was much needed, and I feel a little bit more refreshed, and I'm ready to get into it. So let's just start with a really basic daily one. All right, guys, guardian angels, ancestors, angel number 43. And being the light, we come to you as humbly as we know how to say thank you. Thank you for waking us up this morning. Thank you for allowing us to connect this way. And now, God, we ask that you deliver these messages to me and through me. Any messages that you deem worthy for us to hear at this time. 2 messages only. I got a club. Angel number 103. Yeah, I had the TV on. I got me a little new setup, and I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna work. Whew, it's way too many cards. So actually, I'm just gonna I'm gonna tell you the 3 that I'm not gonna look at. I'm just gonna put on the side: intention, inspiration, and depth. Intention, inspiration, and depth. I feel like what God is saying is, don't be afraid to go into your emotions when we see that message with depth. Know that because of your intentions, what's coming up in your emotions and the things that you feel inspired to do or inspired to act on, it's all coming up because of your intentions. So say if you set the intentions that you want to do some things differently, that you want to I don't know, like you want to connect with others, or I don't know, you just said that you want to be your best self. And then like say if you made a very basic intention that you just want to be your best self. And then the next couple of days, things start coming up about your diet and drinking more water and taking care of yourself physically. Then that is because of the intentions that you set to be yourself, your best self. And so what God is saying, don't be afraid. Like say, for example, if you, if maybe you have like some insecurities around your weight, or you've all that, you know, your weight and all that stuff always been an iffy area. If that's coming up and it's a trigger for you, don't be afraid to go through your triggers, because it's ultimately leading you to what you ask God for, which is to become your best self. So go ahead and act on that. Okay, do you get that example? The example is you set an intention to God that you want to be your best self. As you set that intention, things trigger you to be like, let me start getting my weight together. Let me start working out more. Do not be afraid to look at that trigger and to go in the depth of your emotions, actually act on it, and then it'll get you the things that you ultimately deserve. So often we set these intentions and then things trigger us and then we get nervous and scared, and instead of looking at the triggers, we push away. But what God is saying is that address the triggers, go into the triggers, and act on the inspiration. Okay? Angel number 311. But the 2 cards that we're going to focus on is awakening and relaxation. And right away, I just hear God saying relax. Like so often we think of this process of awakening, and it's always like, you know, what crystals can I wear, and what spells can I learn, and how can I manifest, and what's scripting, what's this, what's the angel numbers. And sometimes like we can learn all this information and it just overwhelms us. Like the essence of spirituality is just contentment. It's to just know that you are doing exactly what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do, where you're supposed to be. And so God is just telling you to relax. If you find yourself being in a panic and like feeling like you need to make a decision, or there's so much that you want to do, just know that that's natural. These triggers are coming up for you because of those intentions that you set in the past. So go ahead and work on those those inspired ideas, but don't do it in a way that you are like, you know, you just like, I have to do this, I have to, you know, like where you get very military with it. Like just allow this to happen naturally. I keep hearing the word allow things to unfold, the unfolding of your life. Allow it to unfold naturally. But don't take my word for it. I'm actually going to get some tarot out here from our Mystic Monday. I actually really don't like Angel number 432. I shouldn't say this, but I really don't like this tarot deck. Because I don't know, it's hard for me to read this tarot deck, but I need to start doing things that challenge me and stop leaning on, my comfort zone. So let's just start using this just a little bit more. So God, give us some information about this message of awakening and relaxation. What are you trying to get us to understand about relaxing in the process of awakening, relaxing in the process of becoming your best self, or relaxing as we are trying to bring our dreams about? How can we just trust that as we go in the depth of our emotions, as we look at those triggers, as we take inspired action, it will ultimately lead us back to those intentions, into that place that we want to be? God, teach us how to relax. Show us what's in our way. Show us our energy towards awakening and relaxation. Allow no room for doubt and confusion. Ashe. All right. Let's shuffle. All right. I actually got all the decks out today, so we may be getting to work. Okay. So, is this coming out reverse? I think so. Okay, so with the first card that came out is Judgment. Judgment, we see there are like doors going down this metal pathway, and it's like as you're opening you're going through this door of judgment, you're going through this door of the unknown with this awakening. But this came out reversed, and the reason why I feel like it came out reversed is because I don't think that's the process of awakening. I think like so many of us think that as we are awakening to our true self, or to become a spiritual being, it means to judge yourself, or it means to, not even to judge yourself. Let me stop. Control, Alt, Delete. See, this is why I tell y'all I don't like this card. Okay. So with this awakening in this Judgment card, I feel like what God is saying is that we have to be willing to go through the door of the unknown. If we choose to awaken to our higher self, if we choose that from this moment on that we want to be the best person that we were meant to be, or that to become a spiritual being, like doing the things that are on our hearts, then God is saying you're going to have to be willing to go through the door of the unknown. Go through, it's like a period. I keep hearing like going through the unknown, like answering this call of stepping over the threshold of, because it's like, okay, once you have an awakening, you decide, okay, I don't like my life. And you have to make a decision on if you're going to continue to live your life how you want it to be, or if you're going to walk forward towards those doors of judgment. And as you see, it looks like there's really nowhere to go. It's like a little plank, and it's like one door and then it's another door down there. So it's like the journey of awakening. But with this coming out reverse, what I feel like what God is saying is that when you're awakening, yes, you're going through the unknown, but it's really not a scary unknown, because what you're awakening for is your true self. You're really just remembering what you're meant here to do. So yeah, you may be going through the unknown and you may be doing things that you haven't normally do, but you really know who you are deep down inside. You really know where you're going. So even though it's unknown, it's not like you don't know the destination. So there's really nothing to be afraid of. There's so many people that I hear and I know, oh my God, I actually, I knew this girl who was just really, really afraid of change, but wasn't really happy with her life, but also didn't really want to do any change. And it was because she just didn't want to be uncomfortable. She just didn't want to be in the unknown. And to me, I feel like that is the craziest thing, to stay stuck in a situation knowing that you're uncomfortable, knowing that you're happy, but you're not willing to do anything to better yourself. Like, that is the definition of insanity. Like, you don't feel good, you don't like how your life is going, but yet you won't even try to do anything differently. And so what God is trying to say is you have that awareness that you want to do things differently. You have that awareness of what you want to do. So yes, though you may be journeying into the unknown, you are not journeying into the unknown without a knowing deep down in your soul. Do you hear what I'm saying? And number 909. I don't want to drive this home, but I really hope you understand with this card of awakening and with awakening period. Yes, there is going to be a period of the unknown. There is going to be a period of uncertainty. But in that uncertainty, there should be a deep knowing inside of you, because what you're doing is it's, again, it goes back to you're taking that inspired action from God. From you sending out your intention, you allowing yourself to go through those triggers in your emotions, and then acting on that inspired action to go through this door of the unknown. So while it may be unknown, you may be scared, deep down inside, you know where you're going. So what God is saying is to, again, relax. Okay, like we don't have to make it so scary, right? It's like, if we know that everything is ultimately happening for our highest good, even if we have to be uncomfortable for a minute, even if we have to journey in this unknown part, it's ultimately happening for our higher good. Yes? Okay. For relaxation, what we have is the Queen of Swords, and what God is saying is that once you have this awakening that you want to do things differently, what you have to decide in your heart and your soul is that, okay, if you really genuinely truly want to change, then you're going to have to go through this door of the unknown. You're going to have to confront the depth of your emotions. You're going to have to do things that you would not normally do. You're going to have to stand strong and be like, okay, I can't allow myself to do anything that takes me off of this path. So yes, you do have to be the Queen of Swords. You do have to stand your ground. But what God is saying is you don't have to be so rough. There should be an ease to it, a relaxation to it. Like, again, like, you don't, like, so often and I get it, like we talk, I see this on Twitter where, you know, people talk about how they're awakening and their old friends they're no longer aligned with me and they're so toxic. And it's like, we really have to stop doing that, because it's not that they're toxic. It's not that they're just not aligned with you anymore. That's the only word that is true. They're not aligned with where you need to go. But that doesn't mean that we have to then stand in this place of judgment because they're not on our path. What God is saying is that if you're going through an awakening, you don't have to worry about what that person is doing, what this person is doing. Like, it's all about you. It's all about making sure that you stay in alignment with where you're trying to go. And you can do that with ease and relaxation. You can do that just by simply acting on those inspired ideas, by remembering your intentions and being able to go into the depth of your emotions. Outweighing all of this is the underlying all of this is the Four of Swords reversed. And the Four of Swords we see right here is this woman. And it's like she has I say these are like, I look at this because swords are all about communication. And it's like she has this sword of truth. Again, this is all about communication, because here is the Queen of Wands. And also, I feel like why God is saying you need to relax is like, what are you saying to yourself as you're going through this unknown? What are you saying to yourself as you're awakening to who you want to be, as you're going through the depth of your emotion, as you're taking this inspired action? I feel like for a lot of you guys, you're talking negatively to yourself. It's a lot of things on your mind and you're judging yourself. But God is saying there's no need for any of that. Like, we have to realize that whether you decided to be your best self 5 minutes ago, 5 years ago, 2 days ago, it doesn't matter. Your whole life was leading to that moment in time where God said, okay, it's time for you to wake up and make that judgment call if you're going to do something better or if you're going to continue to live life as it is. Okay. So what God is saying underneath this all is to relax. Like, all God is saying is, if you know who you want to be, if you know that deep down in your soul, God created you to be a writer, director, actress. If you knew that since a little girl, God has showed you dreams of you being on a big screen and you interacting with all these people you call your idols. If you know that in your soul, as you are journeying into the unknown, as you are setting your boundaries, as you are, sitting at night and going into the depth of your emotions, anything that comes up, you have to have the mindset that things are working in your favor. You have to have the mindset that anything that's coming up is coming up so that you can become the King of Swords. Look at that, because look, the Queen, the King. It's like so that you can ultimately master how to communicate, master how to become the person you really want to be. Okay. I don't want to keep driving this home. But the last thing that I will say about this Four of Swords is just, again, it's like, what are you thinking about? What are you allowing to marinate marinate in your head? Making sure that it's positive and not negative. But I'm actually gonna get some law of attractions to figure this out, because I feel like this is all about law, awakening, setting boundaries, and speaking positively to yourself. So God, clarify this message of awakening, relaxation, judgment, the Queen of Swords, Four of Swords with the Knight of Swords. Oh, this was actually the Knight of Swords. This is actually the Knight of Swords. So with this coming out reversed, God is saying that if you don't, with this coming out reverse, with this coming out reverse, it's like you're learning. Instead of me saying like you're mastering it, angel number 1442, it's not you mastering it, it's you practicing it. Again, it's about you learning how to address your triggers. Instead of allowing your triggers to marinate on your mind for you to think about it all the time and then act out with others, you're learning how to look, go through those doors, look at your triggers, set the boundary, release the burden because you're looking at it. And then once you do that, you're going to be able to communicate better, communicate differently. It really looks like it's like this is just the process of learning how to fine tune how you speak to yourself and how you manifest your dreams. I feel like it's like manifest your dreams and manifest the process of awakening. I don't know, but let's just get some more information about that. All right, guys. Awakening, Knight of Swords, and the Queen of Swords. What is this message about knowing that we have to just relax, knowing that though we're going into the unknown, we're going into it with a deep down knowing inside ourselves, knowing though we have to set boundaries, we don't have to do it with hate or with any type of controversy. We don't have to be an ice queen. We can just say what we mean and mean what we say, and not allowing things to marinate in our mind. God, what is this message all about? Just give us two tools. That's one more. Actually, okay, just give me one. Y'all, I just came back from vacation, 1622, so I'm trying to get it together. Whatever I desire, I can acquire, which that makes sense. The eternal laws of the universe steadily holds the promise of expansion and joy. Understanding the laws will reawaken within you the knowledge of your purpose and your own personal power as you remember how to access the power that creates world. If this time-space reality can create within it an if this time-space reality has within it the ability to inspire a desire within you, then it is absolute that this time-space reality has the ability to yield you a full manifestation of that desire. It is law. But I don't see the manifestation. I didn't see that manifestation though. But I guess that makes sense. Again, but I'm sorry, angel number 1728, but that makes sense. We're going through this process of awakening because the law is that whenever there is an inspiration that is, it's pretty much saying what I said. You're going through the unknown, but you're going through the unknown with the knowing that you are ultimately doing this to become who you want to be. So there's no need to be an ice queen. Relax into who you are, relax into just setting your boundaries, but without being so, rah. Don't allow these triggers to stay on your mind, but really just look at those triggers for what they are, and what they're trying to tell you. Because what this ultimately is doing is teaching you how to stand your ground and fight for your passions, okay? Angel number 1811. So I'm going to leave it there because I feel like I was starting to get a little... and I'm just going to get us a Sacred Rebel to wrap this up. It's always hard the first day back. Angel number 1832. All right, God. Clarify this message of awakening, relaxation, whatever I desire, I can acquire. The Seven of Wands with the Knight of Swords, Judgment, Four of Swords, Queen of Swords. There is a lot of like purple and red, which to me, purple and red signifies, the purple signifies I want to say it is the third chakra, is our brow chakra. And that's just all about trusting your intuition. It's like learning that process of taking that inspired action and then actually manifesting it into the world. And then with the red chakra, because look here, this is where I'm getting these colors from. Here it's a whole bunch of purple, so it's like you're just trusting that inspired idea that God gave you is going to get you to where you need to be. But as you're going through this roadway, you see it's a whole bunch of red, right? And that red is pretty much the root chakra. So it's like you're taking it from here all the way down. So it's like you're taking a full manifest idea and allowing it to go through all your chakras. And here, with your standing your ground, we see again, it's a whole bunch of purple down here, but up here it's like pink and red, which is about grounding and being rooted in your truth. And then down here is some green, and that green is just about is your heart chakra. And it's like she's rooted in her heart's truth and her heart's desire. And here it's like a lot of green and blue. And remember, I said again about communication, speaking your truth. But okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm not saying nothing else. I did want to make sure that I was right though about the brow chakra. Yep, I'm getting so good. Yep. So again, it's all about trusting that information that you get from God and then actually following out, but knowing that as you're walking through this journey of the unknown, it's really not unknown. It's just unknown because you haven't done it before, but you know where you're going, okay? All right. God, last message. Wrap this up in a beautiful bow. Whatever I desire, I can acquire. 7 of Wands, Knight of Swords, 4 of Swords with the Queen of Swords. All of the swords about communication with Judgment. So again, trying to upgrade our communication. And to me, I feel like that's learning how to upgrade our communication with ourselves and with others. All right, God, allow no room for doubt or confusion. Final message. One card, please. Final message. All right. Bottom card is going to be our card. Going beyond the norm. It's an angel number 14, and when we break that down, it's a 5, and 5 is all about change. So again, God is trying to get us to change the way that we communicate so that we can go beyond our normal circumstances. But let's get some more information. And the reading goes as follows. Oh, with inspiration at the bottom. That is kind of crazy. So God is really, really asking you to bring those inspirations to life. All right, let's go. Going beyond the norm. On the path of life, there are deciding moments where we can choose to... Starting over. Angel number 2226. On the path of life, there are deciding moments where we can choose to go with the mainstream, or we can dare to take a bolder, more authentic and trusting way, even if it seems riskier or less safe. To rely solely on logic and science without incorporating the mysterious and magical is a recipe for existential... Start over. On the path of life, there are deciding moments where we can choose to go with the mainstream, or we can dare to take a bolder, more authentic and trusting way, even if it seems riskier or less safe. To rely solely on logic and science without incorporating the mysterious and magical is a recipe for an existence that is far too dry. The sacred rebel within our hearts will always choose a juicier approach to life. You are currently approaching such a choice point. You could say that the choice is about balance. It is less about choosing to honor either art or science, gardening or architecture, and is more about integrating all approaches so that you enhance rather than hinder your life journey. Placing science or architecture above all else kills off the rebellious heart. Steadfastly relying on logic, proof, and a complete set of plans to measure and dictate outcomes will suffocate the soul. Basing decisions on limited factors with an imbalanced measure of success is unnecessarily limiting. This approach prevents us from living freely, spontaneously, and with trust so that we can rebel against the need for things to go strictly according to plan. Choose to value decisions based on passion and instinct, and trust in life enough to embrace it as an adventure and let it unfold as it will. There is a time and a place for logic, strategy, planning, and measurable outcomes. These are not bad tools to have, but we must be vigilant not to worship them or allow them to squash our less rational but equally valuable decision-making tools. Intuition, feeling, and those things you know without knowing how you know them. The flowing, inspirational energy of the heart may have no conceivable basis in logic or reason and still can be uncannily accurate. To remain rebellious, we must not sacrifice the art of emotion, instinct, passion, and intuition for science and logic and strict planning. On the other hand, gardening and art do provide us with a plan more loosely held. Excuse me. This plan still requires us to set aside time, to draw upon reliable methods, and to prepare with certain tools. However, there's also a healthy dose of organic flow, responsiveness, and trust in the creative process of bringing something to life. This leads to the cultivation of the most beautiful, abundant, and successful garden and the most vivid healing arts. You are being asked to stay open to the intuitive approach in your life, your work, your creativity, as well as your spiritual journey. You are being asked to stay open to the intuitive approach in your life, your work, your creativity, as well as in your spiritual journey. The intuitive approach can be likened to the method of a gardener or an artist. There is a sense of what may work, where, or a loose or even a detailed plan, but how the plan is carried out will depend on and respond to the flow of its surroundings. There's no need to control the situation, but rather a desire to nurture an idea to fruition. You may have pressures around you from the world or from your own conditioned nature to do things according to the rules, to a deadline, or to the accepted mainstream view. You need a well thought out plan for success in a commercial venture. However, sometimes the best plans is to do what feels intuitively truthful in that moment and to trust that you are being led towards your own growth. Adopting this approach means you have to do far less planning and far more living. It is a pure and heart-centered way to manifest your art, your life path, and the essence into practical expression in the world. It involves a willingness to be led by nature instead of trying to control the powerful force of life, which is a bit like trying to fit a proverbial ocean in a teacup. It is far more intelligent to allow the ocean to be the ocean and to learn to swim in it rather than to try to cram it into a vessel that is much too small. This oracle brings you a special piece of guidance. You are moving outside of the plan. You are living on the border of what is socially accepted. This is good. This fringe-dwelling freedom. Others might not see this about you straight away, as you may seem pretty normal, but that secret eccentric streak is just waiting to show itself. And maybe you are out and proud fringe dweller, completely comfortable with this way of being. Either way, this oracle brings you the message that you now have a chance to live from the heart more deeply and intuitively and expressively than ever before. It wants you to realize that this is a legitimate, empowered, and creative way to live that honors all of those who are you. You can give up forcing or squashing yourself down to a very limited set of so-called desirable qualities like intellect and control. If you are yet to relate this consciously, this oracle brings you the further message that you are going to be breaking with tradition. Perhaps not entirely, but at least in a way that is meaningful to you. This will require you to have courage in your convictions and truth and in your heart truths. This will help you and inspire others around you to step out of fear and live more freely and lovingly. You are not necessarily meant to abandon logic and intellect altogether. You are to use them to serve the desires of the heart rather than to replace its natural spontaneity and truthful nature. Angel number 2838. You are not necessarily meant to abandon logic and intellect altogether. You are to use them to serve the desires of the heart rather than to replace its naturally spontaneous and truthful nature with control, planning, and narrow strategy. It's time to get a bit wild and let nature take its course. Angel number 29. So guys, this message with inspiration underneath it is just letting you know that yes, you are awakening to something new. You're going outside of your norm. You're probably doing something that your family has never done. You're trying to walk a path that nobody has ever walked before you. And maybe like even an industry, like what you're trying to do is brand new and you have no idea what to do. And maybe you're finding yourself right now at this place of where you're trying to decide, am I going to walk into this unknown, or am I going to do something that's safe? And I really feel like what God is saying is to trust your heart, to trust those inspired ideas that came to you, and to trust that those intentions that you set, God heard them, and that everything that is coming about those inspired actions are coming so that you can become who you ultimately meant to be, because whatever you desire, you can acquire. So don't be afraid to go beyond the norm. Don't be afraid to act on those inspirational ideas so that you can become who you're really meant to be. All right, y'all, that is all the messages I have for you. Angel number 3003. If this message was beneficial for you, please give me a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed, please make sure you subscribe so you will never miss out. Also, guys, I'm really thinking about opening back up my books for the fall, just to try to get you guys ready for the new year. Maybe just get you some, help you get ready to go into 2022 stronger. So if you're interested in that, I really am only probably going to do like 5 readings a month. So I want my subscribers, or my family, I don't even want to call y'all subscribers, like this tribe, our community that we're building, I want y'all to be able to have first come, first serve. So if you're interested in that, just send me an email that is down below in the description box on my website, and I'll make sure I get you on that waiting list. All right, y'all, talk to you soon.